Hey guys, welcome back to another weekly developer diary. So for this week I've got a decent bit to show you. So first I'll just go through all the pixel and I'll just talk through the other little things I've done. So this is the first thing I created earlier on in the week. So I took the Pachysaurus pixel art I made a few weeks ago and basically just did a similar thing as what I did with the Triceratops here. And also I've made a few little changes to this and gave it this like vine root looking texture and then just dotted it around with little autumn leaves and just orange aesthetics. I basically tried to make sure it has the same like cohesive aesthetic as the Triceratops and I think it came out looking quite well. So they've both got the same like colour palette, bar like a few extra oranges on it on the Pachysaurus's head, but they're both quite they both look consistent and like the same art style together, which is what I wanted. So I'm quite happy with this. So my plan for this, with the big wood Triceratops being the boss of the first chapter of the game, this will either serve as an enemy that the boss can summon, or just an enemy in the area that sort of hints towards the boss coming up. So I think this works quite well, and it looks pretty good. It has like the same like yellow amber sap coloured eye. So after that, which I think I'm quite happy with, I went back to this little chibi overworld player sprite I made and decided to make some for the different directions. So I've had this one made for a while with the player looking down. I made one the player looking left, one the player looking right, and then one the player looking up. So I think this came out quite well as well. Quite happy with this. I'd say the only issue I've found with this is each of these squares here, it's like these squares here, are each 16 pixels. And at the tile set I'm going to show you in a second I've started on, each tile is 16 pixels, so this player sprite would actually be over a tile wide, which could be annoying. So I might just have to like try and either squish them down a bit. But the easiest thing I can see is just taking this hand here and just moving it in one. Like that. Like that still looks perfectly fine. And it's the same with these ones, so it'll just be like, move this ponytail in by a pixel, obviously in a nicer fashion, and just shoving it, but you get the idea. But overall, I'm quite happy with how these look. And I made sure that, because the player character isn't fully symmetrical, like with the hair being over the right eye and the bag being on the left side, I made sure to make changes to each side. So you can see the bag's here on the left side, and you can see more of a face here, whereas on the right side, her hair's covering her eye a bit more, and all you can really see is like the bag strap over her shoulder. And then the back, as you can see, I just wanted to make sure the bag was on the right side at all times. Well, left side at all times, but the correct side. And then while doing this, I was obviously just looking at this for a reference, because this is going to be the player sprite when in a battle. But the big thing I've got to show you is I spent a lot of yesterday and today starting a tile set, and I'm quite happy with how this is coming out so far, so I'll just talk through what I've made so far. So the first thing I made, because again, refresher, the first area is going to be a autumn themed area, is I made this tree, and I think it's came out quite well. As you can see, I made it so it's a lot lighter at the top and then, well, a lot darker at the bottom, and then gradually it's brighter and brighter it gives it more of an illusion of being 3D, having the very tip of the tree be a lot lighter. So it's making it seem as if light's hitting the top and then there's less light hitting the bottom. So then, after making this, I basically made some recolors of it. Oh, excuse me, I can feel that coming out. Sorry about that. But after making this autumn orange theme tree, which I think came out quite nice, I simply just made some recolors of it. So I made a red one, a yellow one, and then just a normal green one. And I think they all look quite well. So after that, I made some long, like grass looking texture that could be used like in a way similar to, say, Pokemon, where if you walk through this certain type of tile, there's a chance of an enemy encounter. So I made that and recolored that to be in these 4 colors as well, making sure like all these long grasses and bushes use the same color as their respective trees, just so it's all consistent. And I made these little circular looking bushes, which were pretty much made in a much easier way than making this tree, just having it be a lot lighter at the top and then gradually get darker. Which, making these trees, because really it's just a tree, it took a lot longer than I would have thought. But I'm happy with how it looks now. Just like the little things, just like the little leaf textures, the different layers of how you can see there's like different layers of leaves. Just having it be a bit darker down here, and then there's a little shadow at the bottom of the tree. I'm quite happy with it. So then after that, I made some little basic, this is going to be a basic grass tile, a basic dirt tile, which they're simple, but I think they look nice to get the job done. Then I made this little sign, which could just be used as a little road sign or like a sign outside someone's house, with just some text, which obviously you can't read this, but when it's going to be, about this big on the screen, it doesn't need to be readable, obviously. So after that, I thought I could take this tree sprite and simply just make a tree stump out of it, which I think works pretty well. It's just a good reuse of just reusing the stump for a tree for just a different purpose. And I think that looks just quite simple, and it's hard to mess up a tree stump at the end of the day. I also made this simple just fence post, which if I have a ton of these together, as you can see, let's grab a few here. Boom. And you see, they are joined together quite well. It looks like a nice little fence. Little shadows under them. I think that works quite well. And in order to make it look a bit more 3D, so because obviously the camera angle is going to be a good bit overhead, similar to like say the older pixel art Pokemon games. I basically just took a white, made it slightly transparent, and just used that over the tops of the fences, as you can see. So just by adding a bit of white there, it makes it look like there's a bit more light hitting it on the top. And then just adding some shadows at the bottom for a bit more depth. And then the final thing here I've made, which took quite a bit, was this house, which I think works quite well. As you can see, it's got all these different wooden panels going along the roof, as well as some wooden panels just going across the front of it, little door, and then just a couple windows. And obviously I've just got the player sprite here, it's just like a reference for scale. And yeah, it looks quite normal, the player just going into a door that size. Seems quite normal. So all in all, I think this house looks quite good. There's just a lot of little things that you don't really think about, like to make it look more 3D, having this top bit here be lighter, then this side bit being a bit darker because a lot more light's hitting the top of it rather than the side of it. Same with the wooden panels down here. And then this little white bit on the top, I want to tone it down a little bit, but it's mainly just meant to show that there's light hitting the very top of the roof. So I might want to tone it down a little bit because right now it's a little too obvious. But just by adding little bits of like, just having a lot lighter colours on the top of these things, just makes it so it seems like the light's hitting it from the top, making it seem more 3D. Just little things like that, like how this shade of brown on the top here is darker than this one on the front. So you can see if I put them next to each other, it's quite obvious, but if you just like that, you can't really tell. So this is all I've got done this week for pixel art, and it's been quite a productive week compared to the last few. So other than that, I also have managed to get my feasibility study completed. So basically I've done that and I've sent it off to my tutor just to get some feedback, and now it's me making a few changes to that. based on my feedback, and then my feasibility study should be done. So all in all, it was quite a productive week, and I'm quite happy with it. And as for next week, I probably want to get some more pixel art done, because I've made a good start on a tile set here, so I can just start building off this, making more tiles. So I want to do that. I need to make more enemy sprites, because right now all I've got is this Pachysaurus tree version, and then this Triceratops, like autumn tree version. So I want to create some more enemies. But I also need to bear in mind that I have an assessment, I have a coursework due in early November that isn't related to this project. So I am going to have to focus on that for the upcoming weeks, because that's an equal part of the grade, but obviously it's a lot sooner deadline. So I'll be focusing on that mainly for the next couple weeks, like 2.5 weeks till it's due. But obviously I'll still be doing work on the project, just like this week, just getting a fair few pixel arts done and maybe some other things on the side. So that's all I've got to share for this week. So thanks for watching, guys, and I'll see you all next week. Alright, peace.